Have you ever felt while social dancing this pure state of flow? Like the both of you just synced up in this neural coupling sensation? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Zouk Nerds. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how dance partners, musicians, and the alike can sync up and have this neural coupling sensation as becoming one and sharing that moment like nothing else exists. Have you ever felt that? Or do you know how to get there? Join us as we share our experience and explain exactly how you can also experience that. So, let's go. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sandi, and once again, we have our beautiful co-host, Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Very excited for this episode.
So today we're going to do things a little bit different. We actually went into our Facebook group, Zouk Nerds, and we were looking at the discussions and the questions there. And one question from Caitlin Weber really got our attention. And this is what she's saying. Hey nerds, I was noodling this morning and was wondering if there's any research out there about what happens to our brains during partner dance. Do they sync up? Do we become like one? And those are my words. And as soon as Guy and I read this, we're like, oh, we need to talk about this. Not just because we are researchers who have, articles and things published or anything like that, as she's asking for, but because we really have a lot of experience with this, and hopefully this conversation can share some of that with you guys. Just the premise here, I think this is going to be a very different episode, very abstract, where we're going to be talking about multiple things, but not necessarily one of the episodes that, we dissect something like the Jack and Jewels or the events or the finances or the career, but more really sharing what we have experienced. And I've got to say, I do believe, and also by some AR search that we have done here, there are many researchers that do believe and have presented data that talks about how musicians, sports, activities like dancing, for example, they do sync up. Have you felt like that before, Guy, or like from the beginning of your dance, or did it take you like a long time? How did that go for you?
Yeah, it's hard to remember when it was the first time. I just remember reading, I don't remember where, but I was reading about this research they made with, I think, jazz musicians, where they discovered that there was synchronization happening as they were playing together. It's called Neuro Coupling, when the brains sync during coordinated activity. And reading associated with my own experience with the art form that we do with partner dancing. And like, oh, so that's what was happening. Because there were many occasions in which it felt like the person was inside my mind, almost like they were predicting what I was going to do. And I was inside their minds. I was predicting where they're going to go. And I would find myself surprised with myself by the amount of awareness that was happening with that particular person. I don't remember when that happened for the first time, but I remember occasions in which that happens. I call it the state of flow. It's one of the results of the state of flow when there is this deep synchronicity with your partner when you're dancing. I don't feel it super often or super easily, this layer that I'm talking about, because what I'm talking about here is deep. I do feel synchronized with my partner very commonly. This layer that I'm talking about is when that is like elevated to the maximum potential, really, really deep. I don't know, Alisson, how do you experience that? How often have you experienced that thing like they would call a neuro coupling or something?
Well, the first few memories that I had about this neuro coupling were when I was dancing forró back in Brazil at my very, very beginnings. Forró is a dance that is very popular where I'm from in São Paulo. And some nights I would just be dancing all night. And in some moments when the music was right and the partner and I just felt that synchronization, both of us became one. I really feel it. And it was very much when we were doing closing brace for multiple songs. We wouldn't even open and do one turn for multiple songs in forró. And then, for those of you who know my journey, I went into professional dancing and teaching and performing and competing for many years. So I do feel like for many years I didn't feel that. But in the last 7, 8 years, I think I've managed to get that again more and more and more the more that I've done some therapy and some focused, intentional, dedicated time training that back into my dancing. So nowadays, I feel like it happens very often where I feel like my partner and I are just in this flow. But I do have a question that sometimes I may think, well, is it because I'm the leader? You know, is it something that is easier for leaders to feel like? I'm not sure because I mean, like, we are kind of like imagining, not really imagining, but creating and co creating the dance. But most of the times we're in the driver's seat. So is it because they are syncing up to me or am I syncing up to them? That's a whole thing that sometimes when I have one of those amazing dancers, I'm like, oh, how did it go? You know, did we meet in the middle? Did they completely surrender to whatever I wanted? Or did I just completely surrender to whatever they wanted? And where are we in this spectrum? I'm not sure.
I would say with certain level of confidence that is both ways because I have met followers. I know followers that I call the witches, witchcraft that they do, that they are able to create this environment that once you go in, you go into that place. And I see that they are playing a huge role in it because they get to that place with several different leaders, with leaders that normally don't go there, you know? So I can see both of us creating that space because when I think about what you're saying, Alisson, there is an aspect of creating the conditions for something to happen. And I know followers that creates the conditions to make this synchronization happen because it's almost like they tattoo their bodies to you. You know, it becomes part of you almost. So every movement that you do, they do in a way that is almost like their bodies are glued to you in a way that feels no matter where I go, they're gonna come with me. And that takes us there.
Yes. And sometimes I feel like maybe I'm being selfish about it because I want to go to the social, maybe at a festival or maybe locally, and I'm feeling like I want to have that kind of dance. You know, I just feel like, oh man, I just wanted that kind of dance. And every time I start dancing with somebody and I don't feel that glue and I don't feel that tattoo, it almost makes me feel like, okay, this is going to be a good dance, but it's not the dance that I was looking for. And I don't know, maybe sometimes that can take the joy away from my social because I'm constantly looking for that because I'm craving that and I don't get that the whole night. And I'm like, oh, or even worse, you know, the kind of person that usually gets you there or allows you and invites you there. And then you get the chance to dance with that person and it still doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, maybe I was wanting it too much that now I jinxed it.
Yeah. Oh, that's the danger, I think. That's the danger. Once we feel this perfect, almost like godly like synchronicity with someone, is very easy for us to want to go back there. We want to go into that room again. We want to have that experience one more time. And it can be an easy source of frustration when we don't get it. And I understand when sometimes we go to the social and for some reason we want that dance. And I see it's not all the time, but there are some moments in life that we do need that dance. Because I remember once I read a book called The Brain of Buddha, and very interesting book that talks about the brain and what happens to the brain while you're meditating. And it mentions empathy. There's a whole part of it that mentions empathy and how you process it. And first, it's something you can train. And that was very surprising to me that you can train empathy. And the other thing was like the idea of empathy, which is not to put yourself in someone else's shoes, which is what we normally understand as the idea of empathy. It presents a different idea that is related to being there, related to being present, related to like attune with the body. And for a dancer, when we use this idea of tuning in with your partner through movement, through motion, this can be extremely regulating for your nervous system. And not knowing exactly what's going on, instinctively, sometimes these dances that we have that are so synchronized do that for us. They regulate our nervous system. So sometimes we get to the social and we are wanting to have a dance like that, I think because that dance will regulate, that dance will help us get into a place of stability emotionally, physically, as a whole being. So it makes so much sense for me that sometimes we look for the dances. And also, Alisson, we have friends, follower friends, that leave the social sometimes very frustrated because all of their dances were about movement, and they feel the frustration because their nervous system is constantly in this state of vigilance. So they couldn't rest at any point. There is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic systems. I don't know which one is which. I always forget. Each one of them does one thing. And when you are constantly in this state of, they say fight or fly. Is fight or fly? We're constantly on this state. You cannot rest ever. And in the dance, the way that I was taught is this roller coaster where you go into a place of excitement and adrenaline and exhilaration. And you also have the moment of calm and chill and reset. So I think that when we sync, even though we are doing so much sometimes, because I have had dances in synchronicity that we were doing all this crazy stuff and everything was working, somehow the body is resting. Because I think emotionally we are resting. There is no danger, there is no concern. We are just going. And we leave the dance and sometimes we just say, I need to sit down. I need to lie down. I need to process this, which is another need of the body. They need to integrate when we have such a powerful experience, no?
Yes. Sometimes you just have those dances that you're like, I need a cigarette. In the sense of like, bro, I just need to chill. I need to go outside and I just need to contemplate and absorb all of these feelings that I'm having here. And I'm normally the one who provides that feeling for the people who want the crazy dances. That's usually what people come to me for. But that's not what I always want, you know? Sometimes there are very specific friends who come to me and go like, hey, Alisson, how are you feeling tonight? I'm like, they know why. They're like, I really want to have one of those crazy dances that sometimes we do. Are you feeling it? Like, is the music right? I'm like, well, I don't know until I'm in it. So let's go, let's try. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's something that it's not by request. It's by all of the things aligning at the same time. So I do understand that if I want to go to a social and dance crazy, I may not get it. And if I want to go to a social and dance chill and just, connect deeply, I may not get it. Even though I should rephrase that, because to have crazy dances, I am deeply connected to have the flow dances, I am deeply connected. So I think it's more about the energy level. Sometimes I want to have a deeply connected dance that is very high impact and high energy, and other times that are very much about just syncing up and feeling what happens in that moment without all of that energy and all of that impact. But yeah, I think for me, something that really can take me there is the music. So it's almost like the music is the magic potion that both of us drink. And if both of us get the same effect from that potion, then we sync up. You know, both of us felt the music and felt the vibe and were in the same energy, the dance just happens. But if we're feeling the music differently, or if we like the music differently, I don't feel like I can get there. So the music is like the baseline almost.
And that's very interesting because when we were talking recently in an event that I participated, your favorite things about the dance and the favorite things about your ideal leader and follower, leaders tended to mention the music more often than the followers did. So there is something with the music that helps us attune in a way, I think, because as a leader in Brazilian Zouk, we are more in charge of expressing the musicality, at least in the first moment. Connecting with the music can be something that really helps us get into this state. You know? And I also wanted to share something because sometimes there is an association that we do of a synchronized, really connected dance with something slower, more calm. And several of the dances that I had in this way, they were actually open and, going through the movements. I've had them in the embrace, chilling on the spot, traveling a little bit, and I had them moving around. I like to tell this story that was in a marathon. I was basically sitting down on the floor, almost dead, and a friend came to me and he said, "You need Danielle," which is a friend of ours from Canada. And then he found her, brought her, and then we started dancing. And I think because I was so tired, my mind was like, I'm tired to think. Let's just let the body guide. And because she was with more energy than I was, I think, in my understanding of that experience, I was leading, but I was following her more because I was mirroring her so much more than I would normally do, I think, adapting so deeply that I went into the state of flow and we did all the stuff in open position, a lot of turning, had movements. It was amazing. And after that dance, I left. I was like, okay, that was good,
Sometimes you just have to call it a night because you're like, okay, this is it. One, because you're tired, and other because after such an incredible experience, even if you happen to have another incredible experience, I prefer not to, because I'm like, I don't want to be thinking about one or the other. I just want to enjoy the way it is instead of being in another one and comparing to the other one, like that kind of thing. Don't visit two of your favorite restaurants in the same day because you're going to be comparing. You're going to be comparing, separate them so then you enjoy them fully for what they are.
Yeah, I think these experiences just highlights the fact that we are animals, that we are creatures, we are beings, We try to rationalize things so much and we try to perfect things at times so deeply that we forget the fact that there are invisible forces at play that guides us, that moves us. And the chemistry that exists between you and a specific person might be because you guys attune better together at an organic level. Your bodies were able to adjust to each other better than normal. Like everything fits, everything connects really well. And the magic happens. There are hormones involved. There's a whole chemistry involved. Things are happening that we are not noticing, we are not seeing, and we cannot control. What we can control is our willingness to adapt, our willingness to listen, I mean, we cannot control our emotional state because there are other aspects that, boom, have a huge impact in it. But we can arrive in a place with the mindset of connecting not to the understanding, like the simplified understanding of connecting, which is embracing someone and staying on the spot, but connecting in the idea of listening, really paying attention. I always believed, and that's something that I need to remember from time to time, that partner dancing can be a way to heal relationship between humans because it puts us in contact with our primordial form of communication, which is imitation, mirroring each other. And that's how we learn things at first as humans. We mirror whatever the adults are doing. And in dancing, at every moment, we are doing like these little adjustments. We are doing posture shifts. We are controlling tension in the muscles from time to time, breathing. We are planning. We are preparing our bodies for the next thing. We are planning on how to handle this situation. And all these things are happening on a split second. So the body is amazing and is able of doing this real-time feedback loop, things that happen in a split second. And many times we ask our partners, how did we get here? I don't know. How did this happen? I have no idea. We have to watch in the video because the body is smart. I think when we learn how to dance, we teach our bodies how to do specific motions. So we educate. That brings us more awareness. So then we combine two people, we combine two levels of awareness, paying attention to each other. We can reach these levels of synchronicity who are, like we were saying, extremely regulating for the nervous system without even trying too much. I mean, trying to listen, forget the listening part. I think everything just happens, and that has been my experience. It just happens.
Inoki, it sounds to me that you've been on the verge of multiple wedding proposals in the middle of the dance floor. In the moment, you're just like, please marry me. This is what I want every day of my life.
So many times. When I am in a good state of mind, I just have the time of my life. I say sometimes like, man, if my life ends now, I'm happy. I had a good run,
But jokes aside, I've felt before dancing with people that I've never danced before in my life that after a couple of dances and with barely any speaking or maybe just a few words at the beginning and at the end, I did think, oh my God, we could actually be dance partners because of that understanding that our body, the chemicals, the hormones, and all of the energies and the stars, and that moment was just like, and I was thinking, wow, a dance partnership that felt like this would be amazing, and those were the moments when I didn't have partners, like there's been multiple moments in my career that I didn't have a fixed partner. And so I didn't have somebody to feel that way with. And those things would pop up every now and then. So have you felt that before?
Yes. 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 And I've heard stories of, actually, there's a partnership that I know very successful that they started like that. They danced in a social and they're like, what the heck? Never talked. I think they knew about each other, but they danced. It was like this, damn. And they never took that out of their minds. And then eventually they became partners, mostly because other people could see it too. And they're like, okay, maybe we should do this. But yeah, man. Oh my God, so many times. What holds me back is when the thinking mind kicks in again. Because if I let the involuntary behind the scene processes take place, I would definitely have a partner at this moment. But the rational mind creates all these other things and then the process is interrupted.
No, I get what you mean. It's dance partnership. Sometimes I refer to maybe more complex than a marriage because when you're in a marriage, you commit to each other for life and that's it. But when you're in a partnership, you commit to each other for as long as it works. And then each separate partner will commit to other partnerships for life eventually. So it's even more complex because you have that partnership, but how long for is undecided because it's for as long as it works. And so many layers, so many layers. So yes. Now talking about, once again, syncing up, I think it's such a magical thing that in dance we're able to do this with people that we've never met before. Isn't it? Like, how on earth are you just going to dance with somebody and it feels like you've known each other for such a long time and you've danced with each other for such a long time? Like, the way they hug you, you're like, oh my God, you know how I like to be hugged? Like, who told you this?
Who taught you it?
Like, how do you have all of this information? Please tell me. Where did you get this?
Yeah, I think because some people connect at the human level, really. They like, it's a human. I like humans. Here's my affection. Here we go with my tenderness. Receive it, you know? And that's why I think partner dancing can heal, because it connects two people that don't know each other, that would otherwise don't know each other. And it's not a connection that relies on professional status or money, you know? It's a connection that exists because the dance exists. So almost like the dance is the vessel, is the instrument where we can use to bring people together at this silent layer of the body. You know, like silent in the sense there's no verbal communication, is body communication. We teach them a language, we learn them, we teach them how to say viradinho with the body, the steps, and then the execution and everything. But then when they really go with each other, you know, it's just gonna happen because both understand that language. And the thing that you're saying, Alisson, how does this person know how to hold me? How do they know how to touch me? I think it's because they got in touch with what is it really necessary to connect to someone at a level that is pure, I would say, at a level that doesn't want anything, is not seeking for anything. I think the only experience that they are seeking is the experience of the dance. This past weekend at Zouk Hit, man, I had these dances, incredible dances, and it was almost like this person has been in my life for 50 years and I'm only 35. And like, that is so intense, so intense. And then the dance is over, we walk away from each other. And it's so funny because we had this very intense dance experience, super beautiful, magical. And then when we cross on the hallway, it's like, hi. It's just like a wave, you know, barely a handshake. So there is a magical thing of permission that partner dance gives us to connect with people in this way, you know?
And that's something that it brings me back to what you were saying before about not getting into the head, because that is my number one thing that I have to work on a daily basis, 24/7, even in my sleep. Like, get out of your head and sleep. The way that I have managed to more consistently achieve this level of syncing up and dancing and connecting is really working on my mental health and working on the permission to feel that way, to be in that environment and be in that emotional state and be okay with it without questioning it, without thinking I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or anything. Basically, it's trying to silence myself too. And this is something that we haven't spoken about in a long time, the self one and self two, that comes from another book. And the self one basically is the critical, the analytical, and the self two is the one that feels, that is connected to the emotions and the flow, basically. So my natural way of thinking is being on self one all the time, analytical, critical, making sure that I'm doing what's expected of me. But my practice is to go into the self two, to stay in self two, and to fight the self one is self one comes close to me because I need to allow myself to just be there and enjoy and not criticize what's happening. How do you get there? Is there any process, or is there anything that you do if you're not having it in a social and you're like, you know what? I need to, shake it off and I need to get there? Or do you just allow anything to happen?
Get there, you mean in the
Flow.
synchronicity, in the flow? Yeah. Nowadays, I just let it happen, More recently, I've been more attuned with the signals of the body when it's not going to happen or it's not happening. Not only in the sense of getting to these deeper layers of synchronicity, but also staying in the social periods, because sometimes the body, because I realized that for me to get to this place, I need to be in a state of enjoyment of the experience. If there is anything pulling me away from that, it's hard for me to get out of the head, because the head is complaining mode. The floor is too sticky. The music is too loud. There is something pulling me away from the experience. But when I am in a good state, the music can be loud, the floor can be sticky, it can still happen. So it always starts with a general state, and then I go from there. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's the idea. Before, I would try to force it a little bit to see if I could reach it. But then I realized that even dance with people that I really enjoy, and then we really find, at least at a physical layer, the synchronicity and the connections with the body, I couldn't get to a place of rest. I was researching here as we were talking, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the one responsible for the fight or flight response. The sympathetic is the one who is alert. And the parasympathetic one is the one that is responsible for the resting, the relaxation. So I can't tap into the relaxation because my alert one is still screaming pretty strong.
But what do you do when you're just not getting it? What do you do in a social? Do you stay? Do you go home? Do you take a break? What is your situation now that you're letting it naturally happen? Because for me, when I not vibing, I'll try maybe taking a break, and then I'll try to go outside and spend some time alone. And then I'll try to wait for the type of music that I know is going to get me to on the dance floor. But there are nights that I try all of this and it's just not happening. So most of the times I'll just say, sorry guys, I'm not dancing anymore. Or sometimes I really just have to go. Grab my bag, say bye to whoever is on the way and go. And what do you do?
Super similar. I have been trying to do that. The things that I have been going to with the option, I don't know what the number of the option, because it said something, but the option in which I just go, I just leave. I realized that even sometimes taking a break or staying outside, there's this weird sense of pressure that I feel that if I am in the environment, I gotta go back at some point, so I remove myself from the environment almost that completely. And I know it's a good choice when I remove myself and let's say I get to my room or I get to my bed and I feel relief. So when I feel that relief, I was like, oh yeah, that was a good choice. It was time to go. And I used to force it. I used to stay a little longer, but then I started also to prioritize rest more. And then with the idea of resting more coming now up in the list, when it's like time, it's time, then I go. And there is one other thing that came to my mind as we were talking about this, that for us to reach these states of synchronicity, it's required for us to reach a level of trust in each other. I think the element of trust helps a lot, especially in partner dancing, especially in Brazilian Zouk. There is closeness, there can be closeness. For us to reach these levels of relaxation and these levels of surrender almost, the trust is really important because we at times make associations of certain actions of the body to certain meanings. So if somebody moves in a way, you understand as, oh, this person is ... which is something that I think, Alisson, when you're saying, I need to silence self-one, because self-one sometimes doesn't give me permission to do or to get to this point, or is judging this point. It might be, for me, something related to the meanings that are given to dancing synchronized with someone, to dancing in this deeper layer with someone. It can mean that I'm interested in the person. It can mean that the person is interested in me. It can mean that after this, something else is going to happen. It can mean, who are those who are watching? Oh, I don't want them to watch. What are they going to think watching me dance like this? What is the judgment that is going to be made? So I think for me, it was important to let go of all these things and really just stay with what is happening there. What if the head is turned towards my face? It's just a head towards my face. It doesn't mean that this person wants this or that. They just move their heads. The person enlaced their fingers with mine. It just means that we have fingers enlaced now. Nothing more than that. So I think the aspect of what are the meanings that we are giving to the actions really kick in from time to time, and sometimes all the time, and doesn't allow us to trust and to let the body do the thing and guide.
Yes. Very hard not to be in your head when you're dancing with somebody and you're somebody like me who is always in my head, because I'm always the type of person who wants to do what's expected or beyond what's expected of me. Under promise and over deliver. That's the motto of my life, so how do we get to a place where we're doing that, but we are also aware of how the person is feeling is the question for me. Because I should be aware of how the person is feeling. Are they having fun? Are they not having fun? And, do they want another song, or maybe they're done with the dance at that moment?
Yeah, that's hard, man. That's something I think we will never know, I think. Never know for sure. We have indications, but we'll never know for sure. I really trust these days that the body will tell. Going deeper into this aspect of mirroring the adjustments that we make with our body to just mirror what the person is doing, I associate that with adaptation, because we are mirroring. For example, if the person for some reason feels some level of discomfort somewhere in their bodies, they will move that part of the body. And through the mirroring, we move as well. So responding in this way is the safest way that I found to attune to the space that the person is in that moment. I will not know for sure. I don't think ever, even if they tell me, because they might tell part of it, I know what the body is saying. And I have had experiences in dancing that I found my rational mind confused, but my body just going with it, where we started like really close, really entangled. And then there's tension in the body. And then everything goes down and sends away. And then my body just responded to it, responded almost like autopilot. And then my head kicked in. Oh, did I do something? What happened? Oh my God. And then I started to associate that tension with, oh, there is rejection. They don't want to do this anymore. And nowadays I can just observe it and have a conversation with it and say, let's keep going here. Your body responded. There's nothing being forced. Let's keep going here. And then witnessing the dance transform, going from one thing, going through the other thing, and then going to a third thing. And it was really interesting because these days I can do this more easily. The body responds faster than the mind is able to process what went on, and allow myself to be there in observation mode. I am the active participant, but I'm also the observer and seeing what's going on. And that happens from time to time. And again, I don't know what it is because I didn't ask the person. In that moment that you tensed up your body, what happened? Were you uncomfortable? I never asked, but in the end, we changed the dance into a third thing. And that third thing seemed to be something that worked well. We danced more times and so on, and continue, and then dance several other times over the course of time. And that's the other thing too, because sometimes with the same person, you have different experiences. You had one experience that was like super incredibly connected and another one that was not at all. And I don't know what it was. Definitely something happened, but I had the body, and the body told me everything I needed to know.
Wow. What a conversation and what an episode. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a bit abstract and we're just going to put our feelings and experiences on the table here. But we would like to invite you to actually do some sort of exercise in your dance and pay attention to those things that we talked about. Paying attention to the touch, paying attention to the tension, paying attention to small, subtle things. At first, on an observing chair, not necessarily diagnosing or judging or anything like that. But I think it's important to observe and see also how your body reacts, how your dance reacts to it. And if you know the person well enough, maybe have a little debrief after the dance and ask them, hey, would you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? And just ask, I felt like this, I felt like that. And I was wondering if there was anything that you felt in that dance that you'd like to share with me. And sometimes there's not going to be anything. Sometimes there's going to be a lot. So don't open the door if you're not prepared. Okay. If you're not prepared to take it, don't ask. But if you're prepared for anything that comes your way, I think this would be a great exercise for you to be more aware of things that happen in dance. And a lot of the times, the music is so loud that we can't even hear our own thoughts.
I actually had an experience similar to that in a New Year's event that I had this really powerful dance with someone. And the next day, the person came and said, can I tell you something? And then she mentioned everything that she felt. And she asked, did you feel the same how it was for you? So she was very brave, actually. And what Alisson is inviting is basically what she did, and we had this really amazing conversation and learned how much we were converging in our experience. So that's the invitation that we leave you guys with, to not only have conversations, but also attune to what is happening to your body, with your body, in your body, on your body, as you social dance. It's very wise. And once you tap into that wisdom, I think your experience of social dance can improve. Yeah, because you're gonna let things flow more with each person you are dancing with.
And please do share those comments with us, whether it's in our personal social media or any of the Zouk Nerds profiles all across all platforms. Please let us know, and we will be very happy to connect with you. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode. So thank you everybody for being here with us once again. Beijos, beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Bye, everyone.